Wanted to give you some strategies to help with perfecting your introduction for your definition essay. The methods below will definitely help you begin writing your introduction, and in class, we will begin polishing that introduction. So, I'm going to go over the steps: the picture this method, the have you ever method, my word is not method, and my word is the subject method. In the examples we've read in class, the happiness definition and also the meaning of a word example we've read in class, which are still posted on the website if you want to refer to them, each author used the picture this method. For the picture this method, you are going to utilize the document we use for our own picture exercise. So the document that had the taste, the color, the texture, the sound, the weight, etc. That document will help you with the picture this method. Now, when you are using the picture this method, you are never saying picture this. Again, you're not saying picture this. Instead, you use the document, again, this document for our pictures, you use that document to describe or to bring a picture of the definition to the reader. I'm going to give you an example for the word blood or the phrase blood, let me spell that correctly, sweat, tears. Now, if you are an athlete in this class, raise your hand. Great. So I know you are familiar with this term, blood, sweat, tears. But this term can mean many things to really many different people. So I'm going to give you an example of it using the picture this method for blood, sweat, tears. Her brown skin drenches with sweat, blood, sweat, tears. Her eyes squint as the dark night fades into the abyss of light. She's been running for hours. Blood, sweat, tears. Her legs weaken mile after mile, but she pushes through and continues to run. Why, might you ask? Well, that sweet golden Olympic medal is her dream. Blood, sweat, tears. She yearns to taste the sweet honey of victory. She yearns to feel the rigid number 1 along the smooth, curvy metal that is placed gently around her neck. Blood, sweat, tears. Noticeably in this example, I never use picture this. Instead, I just gave a picture of what blood, sweat, and tears looks like to me. Because again, the definition essay is not Webster's definition, it is our own. So what do I picture? What do I envision when I see blood, sweat, and tears? I see someone who's running, someone who's working hard, someone who is pushing through, someone who is tired, but someone who continues to push through because they want to win. So I could have easily just said that, but that doesn't give us a picture of what this person looks like. That doesn't give us a picture of what, the Olympic looks like or what her goal looks like. That's why we include sweet golden Olympic medal. And again, you can give further details because, hey, what does an Olympic medal look like? You try to bring in what it tastes like, sweet honey, right? Well, again, you can still take this further. The sweet, thick honey. And, you can then give us an image of what sweet tastes like. The rigid number 1, smooth, curvy metal. I'm trying to give you a picture here of what I think the Olympic medal feels like. But again, you can take this a step further by showing what it weighs. So you can say, it feels like 1 pound of gold has been gently placed on her neck, but um, that 1 pound is only 1 pound out of 50 pounds of blood, sweat, and tears she's placed on the track and field. Something like that if you want to make that type of comparison. Um, but you want to be as detailed as possible without getting off task. So again, you want to be as detailed as possible as far as giving us what it looks like, tastes like, sounds like. And again, sound, I didn't even incorporate here. So you can do that in your picture this example. The weight of it, the texture of it, etc. What does it sound like? Again, so you can utilize the document that we use for our picture exercise to give you or to guide you towards writing your picture this example. So at this time, I'm going to ask if you have any questions. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask Mrs. Steve, who was gracious enough to be our substitute teacher for today. Mrs. Steve, may you please press pause and answer any questions regarding the picture this method. Thank you. So for our second method, the have you ever method, you can treat this method as if it is a scenario. For example, a scenario would be like, have you ever gone to Walmart and seen a woman with black stretch pants revealing her colored underwear? So that was an example we used for the word ratchet in class. But a classic have you ever examples from Brandy's song, Have You Ever? And she says, have you ever loved somebody so much it makes you cry? Have you ever needed something so much you can't sleep at night? Maria, I know you're singing this. Stop singing. Have you ever tried to find the words but they don't come out right? Have you ever? Although this is a really great example, if you want to treat the have you ever method as a series of rhetorical questions, you still don't want to use Brandy's words, and you don't want to just use her words and then instead of somebody you put your word, because that's whack. Instead, we can creatively use the have you ever approach or the have you ever method and make it into a scenario. I'll give you an example for blood, sweat, tears. You've seen him before. He has a tall King Leonidas statue. Yes, the same hero in the movie 300. He is a warrior on the field preparing for battle. His muscles curve around his arms, revealing hours of hard work, blood, sweat, tears. You've seen him before. He is the student athlete in every high school, every university. Although you've seen him, you have never experienced what it means to be him. Blood, sweat, tears. Now we go, so mind you, this is a picture this example. All of these details are giving you a picture of what this student looks like. So now we're going to jump into the have you ever. Have you ever duck walked through the green, lonely pasture from the 50-yard line to the 10th? In the rain, sleet, or snow? So again, that's a have you ever. Blood, sweat, tears. I'm tying it right back into the phrase that I'm defining. Have you ever studied feverishly for a test immediately after a 4-hour cardio-intense practice? Again, it's a rhetorical question. Well, you can answer the question, but you're beginning it with have you ever and referring it back to the word or phrase, blood, sweat, tears. I eat the leather brown woven football for breakfast, drink the X's and O's for lunch, and satisfy my hunger for victory by getting up the next morning and repeating the same routine. Blood, sweat, tears. So with the have you ever example, it's an easy way to continue your intro and your introduction if you use the picture this method first. So let me write that out just in case you're a visual learner. Begin the intro with picture this method. Then you can incorporate the have you ever method. Now, you don't have to follow this, meaning you don't have to begin with the picture this method and then incorporate the have you ever method. You can definitely begin with have you ever and then give the picture this method. But if you are a struggling writer and like, oh my God, Mrs. Versher, this is hard for me, then this is the easiest way to jump into the intro. The picture this method and then the have you ever. So again, the have you ever is a series of questions. But like I said, you're not just going to pound questions at the reader. Have you ever bled? Have you ever sweated? Have you ever cried? Like, no, that's not what you want to do. You don't want to break down the word by saying, have you ever? You don't want to do that. You want to use have you ever as a way to define the word by presenting a scenario. And because I know you all very well, I'm going to give another example of have you ever. So let's say you want to actually begin with have you ever. So we'll start that way. And we're going to keep the same concept of blood, sweat, tears. So it's going to be the same concept we're defining. So, again, we can keep the same question. Have you ever duck walked across the green pastures from the 50th yard line to the 10? That's the question. Have you ever run so fast in the Texas heat, so much so that orange and yellow, so much so that the orange and yellow hydration drink purges from remember. All right, so let's say this is your intro. And again, this is a complete freestyle for me, so it's not as polished as I would want it to be. We would workshop this if I were you in class and make it even better. But an example, have you ever duck walked across the green pastures from the 50th yard line to the 10th? Have you ever run so fast in the Texas heat, so much so that the orange and yellow hydration drink you swallowed before practice purges from your mouth? Have you ever worked so hard on the field that the legs that once were firm betrayed you? Well, this hard work, sacrifice, and strength embodies the phrase each athlete across America adopts: blood, sweat, tears. So again, I've used the question, have you ever, and then provided a scenario. The scenario is the duck walk across the field. It is running in the Texas heat. It is purging from running so much. It is having wobbly legs. So again, it's a scenario, and then I'm giving the definition: blood, sweat, tears. So what is blood, sweat, tears? It's hard work, it's sacrifice, it's strength. Blood, sweat, tears is duck walking on the 50-yard line to the 10th, etc. So this will be a way you can introduce your concept or word. Have you ever? Have you ever? Have you ever? So Mrs. Steep, again, may you answer any questions that our students may have during this time. And then press play when you are ready to proceed. For the my word is not example, go to your pre-write one one document. So your pre-write one document, you listed my word is not 3 times. So if you did this correctly, you should be able to do this part of the introduction without a lot of support, because you've already done it. So now you would just fill it in. So an example: blood, sweat, tears. And again, I'm going to capitalize this because it's part of the concept. Blood, sweat, tears is not giving up because you are tired. Tired when you spent your whole life preparing for the roaring sound of yellow, black, brown, and white faces yelling, UCLA. Tired legs become stronger legs. Blood, sweat, tears is not going home immediately after practice. After practice, more practice. Blood, sweat, tears is not a cliche motto to the student athletes of America. Instead, it is a lifestyle of sacrifice, fortitude, and strength to push past exhaustion. So, again, with the example, my word is not. Noticeably, I did not do this. B is going to be blood, S, sweat, T for tears, just for the sake of time. I didn't do blood, sweat, tears is not giving up, period. Blood, sweat, tears is not being tired. Blood, sweat, tears is not going home after practice. Noticeably, I did not do that. I gave what it is not, and then I gave a scenario. So picture this. So you give what the word is not, and then you tell the reader what it is by giving a scenario. So I'm going to write that down for you visual learners. You write what the word is not, followed by a picture this scenario of what the word is. Because again, you are defining the word with examples. So you're always going to give an example of what the word is immediately after you tell us what the word is not. So again, Mrs. Steep, may you press pause and answer any questions our students may have. Once again, you tell the reader what the word is not, and then you give us an example of what the word is.